Welcome to Sunrise Life, the podcast where we have deep conversations with fellow freelance models. And today I have Mandii Monarch on the line. Say hello.
Hey, everyone. Thanks so much for having me on your podcast. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, thank you for taking the time.
Yeah.
Awesome. So I was creeping again on your page today, and I gotta say, I love the way that you utilize your social media because I see like your personality in your reels and in your photos.
Thank you. Social media is hard. It's a hard thing to figure out for sure,
Yeah.
especially Instagram.
Yeah. I get the vibe that you are a fun-loving person that doesn't take everything too seriously, but you also it looks like you work really hard at the same time.
Oh, absolutely. You got to have fun doing this job too. You can't take everything so seriously.
Yeah, I fully agree. So how did you first get into modeling?
So, I've been modeling now for about 10 years, and what got me into it was I was actually a cannabis promoter. So, I was on Instagram promoting cannabis products, and I was being sent, items, and I thought maybe it would be a good idea to have a professional photo shoot done to start amping up my page and making it look, more professional. So, I paid for a photo shoot. I did that, had a blast. Once I posted those photos online, I started getting bombarded by photographers telling me, you're really good. I'd love to work with you and I'd love to pay you. Now, modeling was never something I even thought was possible or in the cards for me. So, when I started getting those messages, I really started to look into it, and I never looked back. I started doing photo shoots, paid photo shoots, going to group shoots, just getting my name out there as a model. And I ended up stopping the cannabis promotion altogether because the modeling world just kind of took off for me.
Wow. That's awesome. Were you working with cannabis with like a certain company?
So I worked with all different companies. Like, people would send me their products, like from bongs to papers to, it wasn't necessarily, they weren't sending me cannabis, but it was more product wise. So I was taking photos with the products, kind of doing my own modeling with my phone, taking pictures of myself and the products. So yeah, all different companies.
That's cool. I know a handful of people that had gotten into modeling through cannabis. Did you do like trade shows and stuff?
I it was offered to me, but they were never paid, and I just felt like I was being used. Like, it was never appealing to me. I did go to a couple things. I live in New England area. There's some events that were in Massachusetts that I did attend, and I would like help out at booths, like selling their products and stuff. But that's about as much as I did there.
Yeah. Word. And the
Mhm.
working at the booth, did that pay at least?
So I got paid in products.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so that's why modeling just was way more appealing to me because I was able to make money like almost from the jump, and made more sense to put more of my time and effort towards modeling.
That's cool. So you live in Massachusetts?
I live in Connecticut,
In
actually.
Connecticut.
Yeah. Born and raised here. Not really much going on around here, which is why I love to travel so much.
Yeah. So can you guide me through like the process where you were doing the cannabis modeling and then some people were asking you if they could hire you for like modeling for their projects? What was the transition like moving from not being a full-time freelance model to transitioning more into that? Like what platforms did you use and how did you find work and stuff?
Yeah, so honestly, Instagram is what started it all. And honestly, still Instagram today is probably one of my greatest tools. But once I started learning about the business and how it worked, I obviously got on Model Mayhem, and I also got on like Twitter and Facebook. And honestly, social media is where it's at for me where it helped me find gigs. And going to group shoots is where I learned a lot. Like the TFP collaborative, type of group shoots. I learned a lot from other models and other photographers, out there. So that's how I learned
Yeah, that's awesome.
transitioned, I guess. Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, I mean, social media comes up in conversation on pretty much every episode, and it's just crazy how, like, I don't know how any of us did this before social media.
Yeah, it was definitely, I'm sure, a lot harder. You had to go through agencies. It was probably, a lot. I don't know because I had never really, I started this kind of late in the game, and
Yeah.
like I said, I never even knew it was possible to do it without an agency. I
Yeah.
had no idea I could just be my own boss.
So weirdly, before Instagram came out, it was actually a lot easier for me to get work, which
Oh
is
man.
it sounds counterintuitive, but before Instagram blew up, Model Mayhem was like it. That's where everybody was. And something happened a few years into Instagram becoming popular. Model Mayhem started charging people more money for like stuff features that they could have gotten for free before, mainly the ability to message people that weren't on your friends list yet.
Yes.
So before they made that change, like back before Instagram got popular, or was invented even, I used to just put a travel notice on Model Mayhem and photographers would just flock to my inbox and my tour would be completely booked with barely any effort. But
It's probably because the market got so saturated and flooded with,
yeah,
all these newer models who are like, "Oh, I can be a model," and
yes.
yeah, that makes sense. I
That
get that.
that too, but also it's harder for photographers to find who to work with because barely anyone uses Model Mayhem anymore. Model Mayhem has that nice feature where you can search for travel notices or you could search for people that are in your area. But on Instagram, there's not like a feature like that. So
Yeah, you're right. Okay, makes total sense for sure.
yeah. But then again, like Model Mayhem is, I mean, it's kind of cringe. I mean, not everybody obviously have it too. Like we all have it, but like,
Yes, it can be a little tricky on there as well. Gotta filter out the bad people still on there.
yeah, for sure. So speaking of that, I do have a section on my podcast that I allow people to elaborate on crazy situations that they've gotten into in their freelance modeling. And since it feels like the topic is kind of naturally folding to get into this now, can you describe some of your craziest modeling experiences? It could be
Yeah.
crazy funny, crazy embarrassing, crazy photographer.
Yeah.
Let's hear
I
it.
feel like I don't have too many crazy photo shoot stories. I'm very lucky in that sense, but I do have a few interesting ones for you. Most of my crazy photo shoot experience have to do with me being nude, of course. Like so when I first started, I walked into a photo shoot. We had discussed what we were doing and, everything was clearly written out, but when I got there, I was completely shocked when I walked in and there was a table, like a huge, like almost kitchen table filled with sex toys and BDSM accessories. And I was just completely shocked and terrified because it was never discussed prior. It wasn't something I was even doing at the time. And I almost just like walked back out. So that was one wild situation for me.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Did the photographer, like, did that get addressed? Were they expecting you to be using that, or did they just
So we went over, he was like, "I don't mean to alarm you." And I'm like, "Well, I'm alarmed." He's like, "Well, I know I didn't want to talk about this through text because I didn't want to get you like scared or whatever." And he's like, "But these are some items that I have and like if you're interested in using any of these items, then like he was trying to make me feel comfortable about the situation, and it's just totally the wrong way to go about it.
No.
Totally.
That is not the oh my god. I would have been equally irritated or freaked out. Like you communicate that in advance because surprising somebody in the moment is the worst possible way. Like you're not gonna be what the fuck? Sorry.
Yes, exactly. What the fuck was going through my head? And this was a photographer that a few of the people I knew had already worked with him, said he was safe, but they never mentioned like this is what he does or wants to do or anything like that. Like I knew it was a nude shoot. and I knew it was slightly erotica, but I had no idea that I mean, there were items on the table that I've never even seen or heard of ever. Like, this was, like, 9 years ago, 8 years ago, or whatever, before I even, like, got into the fetish world, and wow, I was just alarmed. But after I told him what my comfortability levels were and that I was not going to be using any of those items on the table, he was okay with that, kind of pushed it all to the side and we did our shoot. But I will say I almost didn't want to do the shoot because it was weird. So that's one. That would probably be my craziest little situation there.
And that was you said it was 9 years ago, so that was, like, when you were pretty new to modeling?
Pretty new, yeah. I was literally just getting into, like, doing full open leg and erotica stuff, so, like, it was brand new to me.
Wow. And that photographer, he was probably trying to pull one over on ya. Like, I mean, if he had
Yeah.
references from other models, maybe he didn't try that with them, and then he, like, wanted to make the surprise for you because you were new.
Well, yeah. It's very possible because, as well as I know, there are the ones who do kind of prey on the newbies and hope that they don't know how it goes and don't know how to say no and, all that. It's scary out there.
Yeah, that's messed up.
But other than that, like, I've had some really fun, crazy photo shoots. Like, actually, last year, I got topless in the middle of the street in New York City. And I mean, it may not sound crazy to some people, but to me, that was just so much fun, so liberating, such a cool experience to just be in the wide open middle of New York City, taking my top off and having everyone, hooting and hollering. That was a fun one for me. I really enjoyed that.
That's awesome. Yeah, I hear that it's legal to be I don't know if it's legal to be fully nude or just topless.
Topless, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure just topless. So I did it and it was liberating as hell. And I had a great time doing that.
Did you
Other,
sign any autographs?
some people were just coming up to us, giving us props. Even women on the streets were like, go, you guys. Like, yeah, they loved it.
That's awesome.
There was no negativity, which I was expecting a lot of negativity, but most people in New York City, I guess it's, they see a lot of crazy stuff. So they were just people who didn't care, just walked by. And some people were recording on their phones. And yeah, yeah.
And that didn't bother you that people were recording when you were topless?
It didn't. It didn't bother me. Kind of a little attention whore. I like it. I like the attention.
Right on. Yeah, and it's good to know, like, especially when you're doing, like, nude or topless in public, like, it's good to know what the laws are in the area so that you know that you can't get, like, busted for public indecency and, like, whatever. So that is
Absolutely, because
yeah.
I've been in some situations where photographers want me to get nude, and there's like a family we're at a park, and I'm like, I can't do that. Like, are you crazy? I'm the one that's gonna catch a charge, not you.
Yeah.
It's frustrating when they just expect you to get fully naked, and you know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
hello, are you gonna get fully naked? Probably not. You probably would never do that. Just because you're paying me doesn't mean I'm just gonna do everything that you want.
Yeah, it's all fun and games until somebody ends up in handcuffs.
So you gotta be careful with that for sure.
Yeah, that's interesting that you bring that up because sometimes people ask me if I'm an exhibitionist or if I get nervous when I do public nudity shoots. And for me, like I don't mind if people are watching the shoot or like whatever, as long as I'm not at risk of going to jail. That's what I care about.
I agree with you too. Like, I don't have a problem as long as everyone's being respectful and kind of minding their own business and not gawking too much. I don't mind. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. As long as they're not interfering with, like, the creation of the photos. I mean, I've had some onlookers that were, like, just pleasant and respectful, but I've also had onlookers that were, like, you know, catcalling or, like, trying to get in the photo or, like
Oh yes. They'll stop the shoot and be like, "Can I take a picture with you?" And it's like, "All right, like, come on."
right. Yeah, come on.
I gotta show my buddies that this really was happening. Like,
Right. Yeah.
yeah. So Other than that, I mean, some other nude situations. I was nude in Mexico, and a whole pirate ship, actual pirate ship, was going by with a group of people on it, and they were watching me model, and I can hear them all yelling from the ocean, like whistling, and
Oh my god.
so those are my crazy photo shoot experiences. But those are a little more enjoyable than the first one I discussed.
Yeah. I love Mexico. The times that I've done nude shoots there, like, it just seems, I mean, I'm not, like, saying that everybody in Mexico is cool with nudity, but I've never, like, come to a situation where it was a a problem or that people were pissed.
No, I agree with you. They're a lot more, I guess, okay with it. I actually am going to Mexico in a month, and I not for photo shoots, but just for a vacation, and I'm pumped for that. I've been to Mexico, like, I don't know, 6 or 7 times, maybe like 4 times for photo shoots, and every time no one's ever given us problem for being nude, and they don't seem to, like, get in your way or anything like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, I guess there was one time where we had to, like, pay extra money in order to continue the shoot that we were doing. Y It was at a commercial-ish location, so
I see. Yeah, that's cool.
What part of
Hey, I mean,
Mexico
feel
are
like
you
she
going to?
continue.
What part of Mexico are you going to?
I'm actually going to Cantina Roo, so, like, up kinda Cancun, a little bit up. I'm staying on a resort for actually my baby moon because 'cause I'm currently pregnant.
Oh.
This will be my last little hoorah, as I say, before I, become a mom in about 5 months.
Wow, that's exciting, congrats.
Yeah, thank you. My first baby, and I'm 36, and I'm nervous as heck, but very excited to start this next journey.
Wow. And I saw on your page that you have upcoming modeling tours now as well, and how is that, like, while you're carrying a baby?
So that's probably my most difficult transition thus far in my modeling career is watching my body change right now, and trying to get bookings in this in between stages, I call it, because I'm not necessarily big belly yet, and I'm not skinny how I was or how I looked before. So it's kind of tricky getting photo shoots, and I have to explain that to photographers, like what my body looks like currently. And
Yeah.
so the last 2 months have been tricky, but now as my belly is starting to get bigger, photographers are more open to wanting to shoot. So I am just trying to pack in as many photo shoots as I can before I can't anymore, before I'm too tired and all that. I wanna travel as much as I can because I know once the baby comes, traveling is gonna be hard, or at least for the next year, or maybe 6 months to a year until I figure out, a schedule and how it's all gonna work out, if I can continue traveling, modeling, and, all that. It's gonna be a learning curve.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I do know traveling models who have kids, so I know that it's possible, but I haven't experienced that myself.
Yeah, absolutely. I see some moms out there killing it, and I'm just hoping I can be one of those who can still continue. Yeah, just hoping, really hoping.
That's
But
awesome.
at the same time, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, and maybe if I only model here and there, it's still one of my favorite creative outlets. I love modeling so much. It's been the best journey, best thing I've done for myself, and I'm just, yeah, I'm hoping it can continue.
So, if you're 36 now and you started modeling 10 years ago when you were 26,
Yeah.
like, what was your career like before? Like, I guess before with the cannabis modeling, what else were you doing?
Yeah. So even before, so yeah, that modeling and the cannabis was definitely a part-time little fun stuff for me. But I was a security officer for 11 years. That was my main gig.
Wow.
And I was also in the Marine Corp prior to that. Yeah.
So you kick
UT girl
ass.
here. Yeah, don't fuck with me. Yeah, but it was, yeah, I look back now and I'm like, wow, I really did that because it's no joke.
Yeah, so you had to go through boot camp and all that stuff?
Oh yeah, definitely a difficult time, boot camp and learning how to shoot all the weapons and I did a humanitarian mission with the Marines. We went to Dominican Republic. We got to rebuild schools for the kids out there. I That was a great experience for me. I love helping. I love just, I don't know, being a good person to everyone out there. So that was a really nice time. I never saw war or anything. I did sign up for it, but my unit never deployed, which is honestly probably for the best.
Yeah.
But I did want to, but I never did that.
You were willing and able.
Yes, yes. Crazy time.
Wow, I have not personally gone through that, but I can imagine there's a lot that goes into it that kind of shapes like the person that you become.
Definitely. Before that, I was a partier and my friends were kind of bad influences and I felt like I was going down a bad path. And when I joined the Marines, it kind of opened up my eyes to a lot of things and I feel like it set me on a much better path for my future.
That's good. And if you don't mind me asking, like, what's your relationship with your parents and like how do they feel about your modeling?
Oh, that's one thing I was so nervous about when I first started. I was actually nervous about my entire family, like aunts, uncles, grandmas, this, that. And, once I put it out of my head, like, this is my life and I can't be concerned with what other people are going to think or judge. So I went with it full in. And, as I went, I didn't start off doing nudes. It started off fashion, then I did implied, then I went topless and like, I told my parents what I was doing all along. They've always been so supportive of anything that I've wanted to do in my life, and I've always been able to communicate with them freely, which yeah, it's been great. So I'd say my dad doesn't love it per se. He don't want to see it. He don't love it, but he also knows how much joy it has brought in me and how much self-confidence I have now in myself. And he knows that it's harmless and what I'm doing, if I love it and it's made me so happy, like why hate on it? So they've both been so supportive. My mom, she's always just whatever you want to do, go ahead. Like, so
Nice.
yeah, they're always been supportive, which I'm so thankful to have pretty great parents.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, it's like with my parents, they were really conservative about like anything sexy at all. So it was like kind of hard to even like told them about my modeling, but they didn't like it. And I think that they thought that I was actually doing something more, if you know what I mean.
My dad always tells me, he's like, as long as it doesn't turn into more. And I'm like, oh man, well, even if it does, dad, like, I'm still not hurting anyone and I'm not doing, you know what I mean? Like, I try to explain that to him because I do, dabble with the OnlyFans stuff and, content to, like that with my husband and myself. And I don't know if he fully knows about that, but at the
Yeah,
same time, I
that
feel like
wouldn't
if I
hurt.
did, yeah, I don't, it doesn't even matter, honestly.
Yeah.
But again, yeah, they would still be supportive. And I mean, I'm still their daughter, so they're not going to disown me.
Yeah, that's good. It sounds like you have a pretty healthy relationship with your parents.
Yeah, it's just good. I'm very thankful. I'm an only child. I
Oh.
don't have any brothers or sisters, so it was just me growing up. Yeah.
So you mentioned that you have an OnlyFans. How do you drive traffic to it? Because the link on your Instagram is for your Model Mayhem portfolio.
Yeah, correct, because I'm so scared of, being deleted, like, I have been deleted several times. I'm sure we all have been victim to the Instagram deletion, and
Yeah.
so I do have a backup page, that I try and get people to go to, or if they want it bad enough, they're gonna message me, they're gonna find me. I do have it on my Twitter and my Blue Sky and some other places, and actually yeah, so I don't know, OnlyFans has become not really a huge thing for me anymore. Over the years, it's become so overly saturated, and it's really hard to make the money I was making at the beginning. And yeah, I don't know. My life seems to be shifting now that I'm becoming a mom, and it's just,
Yeah.
I don't know. I gotta figure this out.
No, I completely relate. And OnlyFans had a heyday, especially during the pandemic, and in general, it's not as popular as it used to be.
Right. Yeah, that's the problem, and they'll only allow so much on there, and yeah, it can be frustrating.
Yeah. It's funny that you mentioned that because I think that fans assume that anything goes on OnlyFans, but there's a lot of stuff that you wouldn't think isn't allowed on there. Um,
Absolutely.
like
Yeah.
primarily, I have a Patreon and an OnlyFans, and I like to share about my regular life, so that people can see that I'm a human being. But I had a situation on my OnlyFans where I posted my selfie at Christmas dinner with like my family in the background. And
Oh,
they took it down. They were like, "Oh, you can't post this because these people in the back aren't tagged with their verified creator handle."
right,
I'm like, "Well, this is like a behind the scenes of my life. Like, this is not adult content." And the
right.
overprotectiveness of OnlyFans is just ridiculous.
Even, like, public settings, they've taken some of my stuff down because I was in a public area, as they say. I'm like, "How do you even know?" Like, oh, I guess at the beach, they took some of my beach photos down because they told me it was a public area and I had to have written access to being able to do nudes there, and,
Huh.
like, it's wild. Yeah, some of the stuff that they take down and don't, and I don't know, it's confusing.
Yeah. And a lot of the stuff that I do is outside, like,
Right.
and I I'm crossing my fingers right now. Hopefully the OnlyFans mods aren't listening to this episode, but a lot of my stuff is outdoors and I generally fall under the radar on many platforms and they want to slap me on the wrist for anything that they can, but
Right.
I haven't gotten in trouble for that. And I don't know, like, OnlyFans rules says, like, if you're likely to be, like, seen by, like, a passerby or something like that, then it's against the rules, but, like, where's the line? Because if you're on a beach,
Right.
nobody at the beach, but
Yeah.
technically a public beach, like, how do they know? Like,
Yeah, you don't know where I was, like, how do you know?
yeah. What if it's my backyard and I have access to the beach in my backyard?
I'm with you on that.
Sometimes I
Guidelines everywhere are confusing on all platforms, it seems.
yeah. Yeah. Oh my god. And like, posting anything implied on Instagram, like sometimes in the caption, I'll just write like, wearing XYZ bikini just so that like the bots like hopefully are tricked into like thinking that the little scribble line that I drew on my back is a bikini. I don't know.
Exactly. I hear you. It sucks we can't post, like, our best work anymore. That's what I feel like.
Yeah. So when you first got into like, freelance modeling, when you're transitioning out of the cannabis modeling, you got on Instagram and photographers were hitting you up. Oh my God, I was leading up to a question and I totally like rerouted my brain and had a brain fart.
Happens to me all the time.
So, okay, but my question was going to be like, at what point did you create modeling alias? And was that the same as the alias that you used for your cannabis work? And then how did you brand yourself?
Yeah, so at the time, I was Hemp Highness, that was my name.
Oh.
And so I actually tried to continue with, cannabis being kind of like my main focus. I really tried to bring it into every shoot. And then I was just kinda getting bored of it, so I did open up my first little Instagram name. I was Mandii Creates, and that is what I went off of for quite some time until I got deleted several times, and I was like, "Well, let me change my name to Mandii Monarch and see if that helps," and no, it didn't help, but yeah, I wanted to really bring a whole different I didn't want cannabis to be my main focus anymore, so
Yeah. Do you think that the incorporating cannabis into your brand was made it harder to get bookings or?
yeah, I mean, I would say because not everybody agrees with the use of cannabis, and
Yeah.
some people don't wanna be associated with somebody who does drugs, you know what I mean? Yeah, so I kinda just steered away from it altogether, although I'm not opposed to doing any type of work like that if someone brings it up or wants to do it, like yeah.
For the record, I have smoked weed, but it's been a while.
For me, it's been a while too. Now that I'm pregnant, I stopped smoking and totally sober, and it's actually quite refreshing. I feel like I was smoking way too much and using it as a crutch more than a medicinal, purpose.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
I feel more level-headed and kind of clear about everything.
So is marijuana like not good for a fetus? I never really
Well,
thought.
there's mixed feelings and education on that. I used it for like the first month of my pregnancy, and I don't know. I felt like it wasn't helping with the nausea, like everyone says. And I was like, you know what? There's no need for me to just add this for no reason when I don't really know the effects that it can do. But, I have known people who smoked or whatever, used edibles or whatever it may be throughout their pregnancies, and their children are perfectly fine. And, they had no complications. But for me personally, I just felt it was best to just completely stop. And to be honest, I've been wanting to stop. So this gave me a great excuse to completely just do it. Just do it.
Wow. And
So,
so it's been about 5 months then since ish
yeah.
since you quit?
Yeah, about pretty much about 4. Yeah. So doing pretty good. And it took a little while. The first couple of weeks were hard because everything I did, I was like, "Ooh, it'd be nice to have a little smoke." And but after the first couple of weeks, I hardly thought about it at all, and now I don't even care.
Yeah. That's good. I mean, like I've been fully sober for almost 14 years, and when I quit, I was forced to as well.
Yeah, I've seen you talk about it before. I'm very proud of you, by the way, for that. That's awesome.
Yeah. I had a problem, and fortunately, it was good that I got busted, but I resonate with that, the way that you feel after you finally come to a place where you're like, "Oh, I don't need that anymore."
Yeah, exactly. Even being around it, it's like, "Oh, okay, you guys can do that. I'm good." Like,
Yeah.
yeah, because sometimes it can trigger people, being around the substance that
Yeah.
they loved so much, and I understand how that can be hard.
Yeah.
But sometimes after so long, you're like, "Yeah, go ahead, you do that, and I'll do me."
Yeah. Yeah, for me, like, I remember with weed, like, I wouldn't say that there was necessarily more or less peer pressure with weed than with alcohol, but I felt like, "Oh, if so and so is gonna come over, I'm gonna wanna smoke a bowl with them, and if I don't, then that would be weird," you know? And
Right. I have thought like that as well.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then looking back, I'm like, "Why would I think that that's weird?" But, like, at the time, I guess that was, like, the culture of my life at the time.
Yep,
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, and for you you worked for cannabis companies, and that was wrapped up in your identity for a period of time.
Yeah, exactly. So it definitely was a big part of me.
I want to take a short little break to tell you about Model Society. ModelSociety.com is a website dedicated to featuring figurative fine art photography for models and photographers. What makes them different than other portfolio hosting websites is that some of those other websites will still host kind of tacky photography or exploitative photos. Model Society screens all of their contributors for quality and authenticity. So you only get the best of the best on there. If you're not a photographer or model, you can still enjoy and appreciate Model Society because they also have newsletters and magazines featuring their best work and new articles each week. Check it out, modelsociety.com. I will also include a link to Model Society in the show notes. All right, now back to our show.
Well, it sounds like you're really good at reinventing yourself. 'Cause you were like a party girl, and then you ate the Marine Corps, and then you've transitioned into modeling, and now you're like on the precipice of your next life adventure, being a mom.
Yeah, I always felt like once I put my mind to something, like, and really, stuck with it, or like had my mind set on this is what I want to do, I could do anything. Like, the harder you work and you work for it, you can make anything happen in your life. You really can.
I love that. That is neuroplasticity, and not everybody has that. So that's really good.
Mm, yeah. Like my whole life I've played sports and I've done a whole bunch of things, and I was pretty good at it. If I liked it, I was gonna make it. I was gonna do good. I mean, as best as I could, and that's just how I've kind of always been.
That's awesome. Well, I want to ask you another question that I also ask everybody on the show, and I call it the rising phoenix era of your life. Sometimes by this time in the podcast, you've already kind of touched on it, but we can dive deeper into it. Can you describe a situation where you were faced with some kind of challenge that you had to overcome?
Oh, well, yeah, in the modeling world, you're saying, or
It
just
could
in
be
general?
related to modeling or your personal life.
Well, um, well, right now, I was saying pregnancy is definitely my biggest challenge right now.
Yeah.
In the past, I've had, I guess, transitioning out of my job into modeling full time was a big one for me. Um, well, I didn't quit my job. I actually kind of got forced out of my job with security during COVID. Actually, that's when I fully ended up stopping my full time job with security. They had like a mold problem in the building, right? There was mold everywhere. I mean, growing all over things. And I was making a big deal out of it because I was in the building every day. I was the one sitting in it. And I worked for a state building, and they just were so terrible about the situation. They weren't fixing it. They were just cleaning it, and it kept coming back, coming back. And I'm in this building every single day for months. And I made a big deal about it. Well, the person who like kind of contracts us basically said, "Well, I don't want her working for us anymore." And I kind of got forced to, and I didn't get fired per se, but the jobs that they were offering me after being there for 10 years were jobs that I just would have never done. And like, we're talking outside bicycle routes in the worst cities, and just places I didn't want to put myself after putting so much time into this company. And then you're going to really give me a slap in the face like that.
Wow.
So transitioning from full time to like, all right, now modeling is going to be my full time. I had no choice but to really push it and be like, all right, here we go. But it was a blessing in disguise because that's exactly what I wanted to do anyway. I was just scared to do it.
Yeah.
Uh, and at the time, my dad actually ended up getting sick with COVID pretty bad, where he ended up on a ventilator for
Oh.
11 days, and I almost lost him. So if I was still working, I wouldn't have been able to be there to, rehabilitate him back to life and like help him in that moment. I would have had to go to work and I wouldn't have been able to be there. So all of it was a blessing in disguise. The uncomfortability, the sadness I felt is for no reason, because it was the best thing that could have ever happened, honestly.
Wow, that sounds like it was a really intense time. I can't believe they couldn't just like do a deep clean on that mold. What the hell? That's
It needed like an HVAC person to come in. What I think was happening was it was in the HVAC unit. Something was going on up in there, and
yeah.
yeah, they were just like hiding the thing, and yeah, it was pretty crazy. I should have took it to the news, honestly. I wanted to so bad. Like, I was like, how can this state building where actually children come in, and I worked for a Department of Children and Families where like, kids would come and have visitations with their parents. And yeah, I'm like, how are we doing this like with kids and everybody else in the building? And they just said I was making a big deal out of it for no reason. And I'm like, okay.
That sucks. And I have heard that a lot of like state programs or state facilities, they have a certain amount of funding that they allocate to different stuff with
Yeah.
what they're doing. They probably didn't want to spend that extra money to fix their mold problem. So whoever
Yep.
tried to replace you, now they're the one breeding mold every day.
Exactly. I would love to know what happened. That was over almost 5 years ago now. So I wonder. And I was actually really good at my job. Like, I knew the ins and outs. I was there for a while, and Once I left, it was like, okay, you just literally let me go, and like whoever you put in there had no idea what they were doing. So I can only imagine the struggles they went through. So good for them.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure that they're gonna have to deal with that at some point.
Yeah,
Excuse me, I'm choking on my water.
that's okay. Don't die.
Thanks. Wow. Well, I mean, yeah, I think that was a blessing in disguise because it freed you into a line of work where you have more flexibility with your schedule, which I mean, a lot of us freelancers, that's the biggest benefit.
Yeah, I love it. I love being able to make my own schedules, and I can decide what days I want to do. I want to jam it all in 1 week, or do I want a couple days off? Like I love having that freedom. And like I said, the freedom to be able to be there for my dad was the best thing ever.
Wow. Excuse me. So after you've had your child and are you planning on like maintaining the modeling or is there like a new like line of work that you want to get into?
So I'm definitely gonna try. If modeling is still in the cards, definitely gonna try and make it work. I do still have my security guard card. If I ever wanted to go back, I may go back part-time just for a little something. Um, I do have some military money that I am very thankful to get every month. So I have, some outlets where if I was a stay-at-home mom, it's not the end of the world. But if I can still pick up some modeling here and there just to get my creativity out, because that's my favorite part is being able to create, and all the amazing people that I've met too, friends and photographers, that have become friends, and I'm gonna miss that, and I don't wanna necessarily miss out on that.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna try.
Yeah, that's awesome. I agree. There's definitely a community that once you've been doing freelance modeling for a while, like, you know, like most people that I talk to really enjoy like a majority of the people that they work with or meet in the industry. Obviously, not everybody likes everybody.
Of course. It happens anywhere though, with any community.
But it's pretty freeing and positive more often than not. And I even like the consideration for me of like eventually moving on to something else makes me sad because I'm like, well, I don't want to have another like 9 to 5 type job.
Yeah.
I didn't like that. I was always having a power struggle with my manager trying to get time off that I needed or just like
Same.
schedule requests.
Yeah, if I don't have to, I definitely don't want to, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But, whatever way life goes and I gotta do what I gotta do, yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like you're pretty confident, and if you needed to make a shift, you've done many shifts in the past, and you can do shifts in the future as well.
Exactly. I'm always excited for my next adventure, let's just put it that way.
That's cool. Are there future shoots that you have like idealized, whether it's like a goal or like a concept that you want to do that you're looking forward to?
Yeah, I mean, I've got some shoots coming up that are, pretty basic shoots, but as far as maternity shoots go, I'm really excited to see what I come up with and what, some photographers want to do with me. There are some who have some funky ideas and I'm totally down for it. And some want to paint my belly, or full body painting. I would love to do a full body paint. I've done one full body paint shoot, but I'd love to do one with my pregnant belly. I think that would be fun. I've got some stuff in the works, so hopefully they come through and we can do that.
That's cool. I remember earlier in the podcast you were mentioning that like your belly hadn't grown that large yet, but it's finally starting to get big and more people are interested in photographing that.
Yeah, exactly. I was just feeling a little a little fat for a while. Like, wow, I just ate a lot. It just looked like I was bloated, and we're starting to get a belly now, so it's a little more fun.
I feel like there needs to be more like in between positivity because there's a lot of modeling work for like smaller bodies and there's a lot of modeling work for like larger bodies, but like if you're in between, like it seems like if you're not on one extreme or the other, that like being in between makes it harder to appeal.
I feel that. Yeah, I definitely feel that. But I agree with you that all bodies are beautiful. And I think at all stages, everyone should be celebrated
Yeah.
for how they are. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. And that's cool that you have the opportunity to do a lot of maternity shoots because I'm sure a lot of photographers that are, I don't know, boudoir photographers or wedding photographers could use maternity photography in their portfolio to appeal
Yeah.
to future maternity clients.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a few, I actually have a few collaborations, with some really awesome artists that, they would typically charge, but they want to, gift that to me, which is nice too, because there are so many amazing photographers out there that deserve to be paid. And I know this is a whole nother subject, like who pays who, models, photographers. And I think, in both sense, we should, you pay for what you want, and with that skill level, if they're above you, you should be, paying them, etc.
Yeah.
That's a hard one to get into.
Yeah. And that can be a controversial subject for a lot of people.
Yes, absolutely.
Have you seen that graphic that people pass around from time to time that has like the who pays who?
Oh yeah, it's like an arrows this way,
Yes.
that way. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, I see that, and every time I see it posted, there's a bunch of people arguing in the comments.
Oh yeah, nobody agrees on anything in this world. This can't make everyone happy.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, in my opinion, like, if somebody wants the photos for their use and they are the ones that are reaching out to you, you know, that generally is because they wanna hire you. But it's
Right.
that kind of is a tricky thing when you're a traveling freelance model. You have to be the one to initiate contact because people who wanna hire you won't know that you're coming to town unless you tell them.
And that's where it all comes into having a very professional opening statement to someone. You know what I mean? Like when you're reaching out to someone, it's got to be a nice detailed message. And, I always say you may not be looking to pay models, and I completely understand that, but I'm just letting you know that I'll be in the area. And if you are, like, I am available. So you can't just reach out to someone and be like, hey, I'm coming to your area, you want to pay me to shoot. It has to be in a very professional manner, and I feel like that helps a lot.
Yes.
You're not demanding money from someone. You're saying, hey, if you want to work with me, cool. If not, I understand.
Yeah. And that's for me, I think that's why traveling is so necessary if you're gonna do this full time because like in my local area, I feel like photographers who live close to me don't really value my time as much as if I'm going to go to say like Boston for only 3 days, and
I agree.
always if I'm coming back or not. There's a supply and demand element to that.
I totally agree with that. When I first started in my area, in surrounding states, it was like boom, boom, shoots here, shoots there. And then obviously over the years, it has slowed down because, yeah, they can get me anytime. And then they kind of forget about you. It's like, all right, you're here, and all these traveling models are coming to me. I want to work with them. And so I totally agree with you on that.
And you're based up in the Northeast, which is what I consider a really good area with a lot of photographers in major cities. You've got like
Yeah.
Philadelphia, New York, Washington, D.C., all relatively close to you.
Exactly. Yeah.
Frequent those areas?
I'm actually planning a DMV trip. Let's see, when am I going? At the end of March, I believe, with another traveling model. So I have gone there several times, and I hit up all the areas and then drive back because it's nice. You could do stops along the way. You can go through New York, New Jersey, and then get all the way to Virginia and back. And even I got Boston, I got New York, I got New Hampshire, Maine, even though that's a little scarce sometimes. But yeah, I do hit up those areas frequently, and there is a lot going on down in that area.
Yeah. Do you drive for your tours or fly?
So I tend to fly for most, but if I'm going to the DC area, I'll drive through because, like I said, I can hit up those areas. It's nice to like drive a few hours, hit up a spot, drive a few hours, hit up a spot, stay somewhere. You know what I mean? It's nice when you could do it that way, when you don't have a long drive. And I don't like having to drive for too long.
Yeah.
I like to be able to do stops along the way.
Yeah. Yeah, that's nice. Do you ever come out west?
So I just started going out that way. I mean, I was just in Arizona for the first time, and that was really amazing. And just seeing it for the first time, I was like, wow, I really should have been out here a long time ago and all over there. I'm kind of upset that I waited so long to get out that way. But also I didn't have a travel buddy for the longest time, and I was really kind of nervous about traveling alone a lot and meeting all these photographers alone. And, it's for safety purposes. And once I found a travel buddy, we've only known each other for 2 years. That's when my traveling really started to pick up a lot more. So, yeah, it's a lot safer to travel with someone else.
That's awesome. So do you guys like split an Airbnb when you travel together? Or?
I've done Airbnbs. Hotels. We'll stay at studios, photographers' houses. So that's like another thing, to save money. You want to go home after these trips with, a little money in your pocket. You don't want to spend all the money on travel expenses. And I understand that that's also a tax deduction too. But like at the end of the day, you're still spending money and you want to go home with as much as you can.
Yeah.
So we try to, do that if we can, which I'm very grateful for all the photographers out there who have opened up their spaces to us and have been great hosts. And yeah, thank you to all those photographers. If you're listening, you guys are amazing and you have no idea how much it helps models out.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, having somebody that's able to host is really nice.
And I host myself actually here in Connecticut. So if any models are listening to this, I definitely host and I love to do that. I have a home studio as well, and I open up my whole house for shooting purposes as well. So,
Oh,
yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah. It's not like a, crazy studio or anything. I don't have like all the professional lighting or anything like that. Photographers got to bring their stuff, but I do have the space and it's nice to have that.
That is nice. It's nice to be able to like as a traveling model, like when I'm traveling, every once in a while I get hosted by somebody, and every single tour there's at least a few photographers that are asking if the place that I'm staying, if they could shoot there. And it really just depends on the space and who lives there and what they cool with it.
I have like almost 4,000 square feet in my house. So I have quite a large house to work with. And I pretty much, for the most part, keep it photo shoot ready. And I have the studio space in my attic, if you will. It's kind of an attic space, but not totally. It's like a whole room. And I've got all my stuff up there. I've got a little like fake tub. I've the boudoir set. I've got a red wall and got some backdrops, and yeah, they have a spare bedroom, their own bathroom they could use when someone stays here, so it's kind of comfy.
That's super legit. I want to come over.
You can anytime.
Connecticut, but you were mentioning that it's not as much of a hub for like photographers that are hiring traveling models.
Yeah, I'd say, but it's also right in the middle. I'm pretty much in the middle of New York, Boston. There are people who hire here.
Cool.
I just feel like maybe I'm an old face in Connecticut. Like they've shot me before. Like, you know what I mean? Like, But for other models that come through, I see they don't have that hard of a time getting at least a few bookings. And like I said, if they're traveling through from New York to me to Boston, then it kind of works out.
That's awesome. That's great that you have that space. It sounds lovely and a really great place. And like how many traveling models would you say you might have hosted already?
I've had like, I don't know, maybe 15 over the years, not a ton, just, um yeah, I mean, most women are models, they like to have their own hotel space. A lot of people like to really have their own space, and I understand that completely. Some people don't really want to like maybe they feel like they're intruding on someone's life, but I don't feel that way. Like I like it. I like having people here and helps with networking too.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, it's kind of interesting, like getting into modeling when I first started, like before social media and stuff, models at that time were not so friendly with each other. But today, with social media and everything, models seem to be a lot more friendly with each other and accommodating and helpful. And, you could stay at my house, I could stay at your house. And I love the way that it shifted for the positive.
Yeah, me too, because I've met some of my best friends through doing modeling. Like, actually, all my friends currently are they all have met because of modeling.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I have a very similar boat. I would say that a lot of my party friends from back in the day, like, we've kind of gone separate ways, and I stay in touch with some of them, but a lot of my current friends are also like photographers or models.
Yep. Same.
Sweet. Cool. Well, we have a few more minutes before our hour is up. Is there any specific thing that you wanted to talk about?
Ooh, I don't know. It caught me with that one.
I suppose I could ask if you could go back 10 years and give baby model Mandii advice based on your current day's experience. What advice would you give yourself when you started?
Oh, well, make sure that you do your background checks. Make sure you know who you're working with and don't take no shit. Be able to say no. It is okay to say no. And if someone is not okay with you saying no, you can just leave, and they're not worth your time and they're there for the wrong reasons. Just always be there for you, and be mindful whatever you do out there, you have to live with that. So yeah, just do you, and make sure it's because you want to do it, not just because you want to make a quick buck or whatever it may be.
That is sound advice, and I totally agree.
Yep.
I find that when I started, I was more likely to, just focusing on whatever money I was going to make. And then later on, if I did photos that like I kind of didn't want to do, then it seems like those photos are the ones that pop up on a Google search the most.
Oh yes, definitely. So you definitely just got to be careful, and also just be careful what you put online as far as texting, and even through like this podcast, you just got to be careful what you say and how you say it, and just be mindful of, and be respectful, and just, I don't know, be a good person. That's all.
That's awesome. And you mentioned that you're going to be in DC in March. What other trips would you like to promote for people that might be in the area listening to this podcast?
All right. Well, let's see. I'm going to be Yeah, well, okay, so DMV is gonna be the second to last week of March. I think I'm gonna be there from like the 17th or 18th to the 24th. So I'll be all around that area. I do know I have some people interested in maternity. I'm also gonna be traveling with Raya Lynn, and we can do solos, we can do duos. I know it's kind of funny to do a duo with one maternity model and one not, but hey, if you want to, we're available. And I will be in New York City at the end of this month, February. I may have 1 or 2 slots available. I'll be in Brooklyn on the 25th with availability later in the afternoon. If anyone in that area is interested, or even on my travels home, I'll be in New Jersey on the 24th, and hoping to get some other things in the works. And I can travel anytime. I have my car. I can travel to all surrounding areas, and I can take a flight still before I'm too big. I want to fly as much as possible. So yeah, let me know. Get me out there.
That's awesome. Wow, sounds like you're pretty busy.
Yeah, busy as I can be. I try. Definitely try to stay busy. I got like some figure drawing classes. I do that as well, art modeling, and yeah, I got a lot of those coming up actually. So that'll be fun.
Wow, that's awesome. Well, Mandii, thank you again so much for taking the time to be a part of the podcast. I can't wait to share this.
Yeah, this was so fun. It was great talking with you, and